Hey there friends, what's going on? David Pass with Song Notes, and I want to do a quick little video update talking about some Paul Simon stuff. So the big reveal of this video is I have a brand new PDF chord sheet for you for Kodachrome. So this is from Paul Simon's third studio album back in 1973. If you don't know this song, definitely give it a listen because it has, I think, the best of what I love about Paul Simon, and I think you'll enjoy it. So I want to talk about that. I'm also going to touch on Mrs. Robinson, Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, and everyone's favorite perhaps is The Sound of Silence. So there's so many other of his songs we can get to. Before I get to those, let's talk about the new offering I have, which is this PDF chord sheet I showed you. So I've had over 350 lessons I've made. The 20th one I made many years ago was for Kodachrome. So this is a Paul Simon song. Let's dive into this new PDF that's available. Those of you who already support me on Patreon got the email already, but to everyone else, if you head on over to playsongnotes.com, you can see this PDF in person. So check this out. Basically, page 1 is going to give you a quick summary of that intro riff, right? The entire lyrics for the full song with the chords sort of meticulously placed above where you need to play them. Also going to call out the key, the tempo, what capo you need if you want to play it with Paul Simon's version. My video lesson actually has no capo, just to keep things simple. As always, on page 1, I like to do a simple summary of the chord charts and a little summary of the strumming. Now, if you really want to learn this song and study it and get to know it, that's where the other pages come in. So page 2 is going to give you the chords you'll need for the entire song, right? The verse, the chorus, the outro. And then I'm also going to talk about strumming patterns, right? Give you a few different options, a real basic one, and then a bit more of a full one with the option to add a slap strum if you want. I'm going to explain this in my video, and I have a separate video all about the slap strum technique if you want to add that percussive style to your playing. On page 3, I'm kind of jamming this in here, but I have the intro tab written out with timing. This is really important for this one because Paul Simon, you know, a master rhythmic player, right? And not only am I going to show you this main intro verse, this main intro tab, but I'm also going to show you how to learn that very difficult G riff, which I think gives the song a lot of the distinction. I'm going to break it down into 4 different steps that you can learn. Right? Start off with just learning the chord, getting comfortable with these simple bass notes. Step 2, we're going to sort of bring in the sort of chromatic shift up from that B flat to the B. I'll explain that as well as talk about finger positions. In exercise 3 and 4, you're going to bring in some of the other stuff you need really to get to that full version, the 4th version here in this riff. So this is a great way to learn things. I like to break things down step by step when I'm teaching you a lot of these songs, just because, to throw you into the full riff and expect you to be able to play it, even if you slow things down, isn't always the most effective way to learn, right? And then finally on page 4, this is a new edition, right? I did have an older PDF for this song, but it wasn't formatted as nice, and this new one, I wanted to include the chord progression. So for the entire song, if you really just want to focus on the counting and when to do the chord changes, you're going to want to use this. So this is what you'll get in the Kodachrome PDF. Thanks to all of you again who are already supporting me on Patreon. Head on over to playsongnotes.com. It's lesson 20, and you can get the new PDF for this song, and you also can get my video lesson. Again, even though it is a few years old, I stand by that lesson, and even though there was some production errors, and that's actually one where my microphone was backwards when I was recording, and that's the kind of thing you learn as you create stuff, as you make dumb mistakes like that. The volume is a bit low, but you can definitely hear me, and just crank it up and you'll be in good shape to follow along, and you can learn this awesome Paul Simon song. So a couple other ones I want to point out while I have you here. One is Mrs. Robinson. So this is a lesson that I made about 2 years ago or so, maybe 2 or 3. Production quality is a bit better. You can see my sort of video style evolving as I make these. Now, this PDF is not in my newer style yet, but it is a 4-page PDF. It's handmade with care by me, and it's going to give you what you need. So a real quick tour of this one is, again, page 1 is going to give you an overview of the entire song with all the lyrics. The chords are written in place. I'll call out when to do the intro, strummy kind of riff and all that stuff. Now let's get into the other pages and show you what you can learn if you dive in. So I'll talk about the chord shapes as I normally do, talk about the chord progressions for the entire song, talk about the strumming patterns for the entire song. Again, keeping it simple at first and then breaking it down to a bit more of a complicated one if you want to be a bit more like Mr. Simon. Now there is this cool riff. It's like a bass line riff you get in that intro of the song. I'll show you how you can play this while you're strumming. You can hear that in my video lesson. I also have a full playthrough cover of the entire song as a separate video. Then there's these cool walk downs. This is maybe my favorite part of this song is, your bass note is going down from the C to the B, the G over B, to the A for the A minor, so that's 4. And then this is a fun one as well, from the C to the C over B to the A minor to the G. Then you're going up to the D, to the C bass note, to the B bass note, to the A bass note. It sounds really good when you put it all together, and I have the tab here written out for you. And then finally we have the verse melody note. So if you want to practice singing, or is it singing, or is it that sort of dee 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 dee? I can't even do it that well, but if you want to practice hitting those vocal notes correctly, you can use this as a melody guide to basically practice that. I'm sure I did that many years ago when I was learning this song. So that's what we have for Mrs. Robinson. Check that out. That one is at my website as well. The lesson number is
51.
And you can watch my, I have a beginner lesson on that one, a video lesson. I have a sort of licks and fills separate video lesson, and then I have a third video lesson, which is just the play along cover. So Mrs. Robinson is quite covered well, and I'll eventually get to updating this PDF to make it use my latest designs, right? Now, while I have you here, a lot of you have been requesting Paul Simon songs, and I wanted to throw one at you that I don't have a video lesson for yet. I don't have a PDF for yet, but I learned it many years ago, and I did write up my notes a long time ago in just a simple text file. So this one is from Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard. It's one of my favorite songs by him. This is a song I've put off learning recently again, just because it's such a high hurdle to jump over. And with those songs, I really want to make sure I am like mentally ready to commit to it, to putting together a good lesson. But in the meantime, I want to give you this PDF. So you can get this on over on my Patreon page, Patreon only, folks. So this one is going to basically give you this is how I used to write things up. I basically have, it's all text. There's nothing handwritten, nothing bolded. The chords are written once for each progression, meaning for the verse you have them, you have the chords you need. For the pre-chorus you have them written here. Then we go back to the verse. The assumption here is you use the same chords. Now again, eventually I'm going to make this into a proper PDF, and it takes me a lot of time to do that though. So I understand if you want the chords written here, but just understand the progression here. You're going to be on A, then to D, then to E, then to A, right? Now, the chorus, this is from about 10 years ago, 15 or even 20 years ago when I learned this song. I would want to fact check this part to make sure I got this final, Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard. I want to make sure I got that part right. But this intro, I can vouch for this being the way that I would recommend playing this song. And on page 2 of this, I have just the notes that I wrote up again back then. The intro and the chorus riff by itself, all the chord shapes you're going to need, both in standard open chords, and then the bar chord versions of those if you want to play it with those as well. Then finally I have the chord progressions, which again are always helpful when you're learning a song. So you can get that attached to the Patreon post. So the last thing a lot of you have asked about is The Sound of Silence. This is a song I don't have a lesson for at the moment, but so many of you have requested for it. I finally have started to learn it over the last couple of weeks. So I'm in that phase right now of working out how I plan the lesson. Do I want to do no capo, or do I want to do capo 6th fret, which is how they play it. I can't sing like Paul Simon or Art Garfunkel, so I kind of have to just basically find a way to make it my own, but not make it too much of my own, because all of you probably want to learn it in the style of them, but I ultimately want to make this be a lesson that I care about. I want this to be a lesson that I feel passionate about. And when you're regurgitating a lesson for a super, super well-established famous song, it can be hard to get excited about it. So I'm finding that avenue for excitement. What is a way that I can sort of feel alive and feel inspired when I'm teaching you the song, but not just have it be rote, here's exactly how they play it, and then I don't want to be too bored with it, because that makes for a bad lesson. If I'm bored, it's going to come through in the video, and that's going to be no good. So that one's coming. Keep an eye out for it. There's several other great teachers who already have lessons for it. I like Jerry's Guitar Bar. I like Guitar 0 to Hero. They both do a great job with their PDF write-ups. Jerry's Guitar Bar does Guitar 0 to Hero. He puts the tabs in the video itself. So if you want something quick, check that one out. But that's going to be it for my sort of Paul Simon update here. Again, the big new drop in this video is the Kodachrome PDF. So you can get that over at my website, playsongnotes.com. Thanks to all of you who are already supporting me on Patreon. Your monthly donation of just a few bucks, it helps me so much. It keeps the fire burning, keeps me creating these PDFs, updating the old PDFs, making new videos, doing it week after week after week, and it is really, really appreciated by me. So thank you so much. Playsongnotes.com is the website, and I've said all I have to say. So I'll see you in the next one, my friend. New lessons coming soon, and thanks for all of you. A bunch of you have asked. Minor wrist injury. I'll be okay in a few weeks. I can still do basic guitar stuff, but I was playing soccer, and I was acting like I was a bit younger than I actually am, sprinting down the sideline. I fell, wrist bent a little bit too far, so it's a minor fracture. I'm okay. But thanks to all of you who have expressed your concern through the Patreon comments. I really appreciate that. I'm going to head out now, and see you in my next lesson. Bye, guys.